afternoon. Welcome to Zoomer Hall. We are live from the Zoomerplex in Toronto's West End. It is an absolutely beautiful afternoon. Come on in with me. Look at this. We've got an incredible crowd. We are live. My name is Mark Wigmore, and host of the Oasis on the New Classical FM, heard 3 to 7 weekdays, but we've got a special thing happening for this Sunday. The campus is open. The Zoomerplex is on full display for thousands taking in Doors Open Toronto this weekend. Day 2 of festivities, and here until 5 p.m. today. And so come on down, 70 Jefferson Avenue in Liberty Village. Now, we are celebrating Schmaltz&Pepper is a new Toronto ensemble playing klezmer music inspired by jazz, Roma, classical, and European folk traditions. This powerhouse group is with us. The members include Toronto Symphony Orchestra, principal clarinetist Eric Abramovitz, Grammy-nominated Jurecka on violin, accordion, and mandolin, Juno-winning pianist Jeremy Ledbetter, superstar Victoria Gone BC Toronto, bassist Michael Herring, and Peadora violinist, vocalist Rebekah Wolkstein. And let's start. It's Schmaltz&Pepper with the piece Stirring the Pot, live from Zoomer Hall and Doors Open Toronto on the New Classical FM. That's exactly what they're doing. They are stirring the pot. The opening piece for our very special concert presentation, Stirring the Pot, that's so suitable for what this ensemble is all about. You're with the New Classical FM. We are live on the air at classicalfm.ca, and we are live from Zoomer Hall. The concert series continues here. We've had so many great ones over the years, and this is Schmaltz&Pepper, the ensemble. We are celebrating Doors Open Toronto. Thousands have poured into the Zoomerplex doors this weekend. You can too. We're welcoming you with so much up until 5 p.m. today. So thank you to this great group who's with us today. Schmaltz&Pepper, this new Toronto ensemble playing klezmer music inspired by jazz, Roma, classical, and European folk music. They will play Jewish Music Week on May 27th, then Toronto Summer Music, July 23rd, and then the Jazz Bistro, great venue in downtown Toronto in September. Several chances to see this group, and we're going to enjoy this hour. So we've got several of the members who are going to take a moment to talk about what this group is all about. Indeed, we do have Eric Abramovitz who's with us. Welcome from the Toronto Symphony Orchestra.
So happy to be here.
Great to be with you. And Rebekah Wolkstein is with us as well, who's been in Zoomer Hall before. Great to have you with us as well. Thank you. So a fiery start, and I'd love to know why this group has come together. You're a group that a lot of incredible members who played in different ensembles over the years. Why now with this particular group, Schmaltz&Pepper?
Sure. Well, the group came together quite serendipitously back in, was it October?
November.
It was back in November. We had some random gig that brought the three of us, me, Becca, and Drew, together playing some classical chamber music. And
little different than what you're doing now.
A little bit different than this. And we got to talking, and I mentioned how it was always a goal of mine to be in a klezmer band. I didn't know how or when it was going to happen. And on the spot, Becca said, let's do it. And that was quite simply all it took. I thought she was kidding, but then she got out her computer and already started scheduling stuff, and I could tell she was serious. And that's exactly what I needed to find, because as much as I wanted to start it, I don't know if I'm as much of a go-getter as Becca is to just say, it's simple, let's just do it. So it started with that, and they're very well connected with great musicians in Toronto. Outside of the sphere where I perform in classical music, they knew Michael and Jeremy, who are fantastic musicians, jazz primarily, but they play so many genres.
And that's what you needed here.
Yes.
Somebody who could really handle a lot of different ideas.
Exactly. So we're stirring the pot with the musical experience and point of views that we bring into the group, and hopefully stirring the pot in the Toronto klezmer music scene. Becca, anything to add? Did I miss anything there?
Rebekah, this is something that you've kind of done in the past with Peadora, different groups that have kind of revolved in this world, and so this feels like an expansion of that to some degree.
Yeah, there were three main musical ensembles that I wanted. I wanted a string quartet, a tango band, and a klezmer band, and so now I've got them all.
Yeah, I love it. We're going to turn it over to Jurecka, incredible performer. It's always fun to watch you perform, my friend, and you're going to introduce our next piece.
Yes. So when we started going down this musical path, one of the things that Rebekah and I, we're married, so we spend a lot of time together talking about this stuff when we're working on these.
Just in case anybody was looking into either of our wonderful musicians here.
So one of the stories that we discovered when we were looking for inspiration was of Sidney Frumpkin, known as Sidney Franklin, who is the son of came from a Hasidic family in Park Slope, Brooklyn, and ultimately became a professional and very well-regarded bullfighter. He rose to the rank of matador, and he was friends with Ernest Hemingway, who wrote about him. He was known for his very flashy costumes, and occasionally even took it too far. At one point, apparently, he was booed out of a bull ring for being too extravagant. But this piece that Rebekah wrote was inspired by his story. But I'll leave you with this quote from Frumpkin. Somebody asked him, why do you have Catholic nuns bless you before you fight? And he said, well, sure, I'm Jewish, but the bulls are Catholic.
Well, we are live from Zoomer Hall, and so with that in mind, we'll think of And the Sun Also Rises and Hemingway and the bullfighting of that era. Live from Doors Open Toronto and the Zoomerplex, it's Schmaltz&Pepper here on the New Classical FM.
In this next tune, I tried to bridge a little bit my life as a classical musician and as a klezmer musician, and this tune I named it Mozart the Mensch. Now, it is well documented that Mozart was not a Mensch. He was no stranger to vulgarity, he basked in it. So this tune explores two questions. What would his music sound like if he was indeed a Mensch and also Jewish?
The klezmer variation that asks, what if Mozart had been a Mensch? And Eric Abramovitz with that incredible arrangement and just absolutely wonderful. We are live from Zoomer Hall here on the New Classical FM, and that ensemble is Schmaltz&Pepper. Entertaining us this afternoon, the ensemble poised to redefine the traditional boundaries of Yiddish music, blending classical mastery with innovative, soulful arrangements. As we just heard, an extraordinary ensemble set to become a major force on the global scene. I know that's going to be true. It is Mark Wigmore with you. Great to have you along, live from Zoomer Hall, and doors open Toronto at the Zoomerplex until 5 p.m. today. So do come on down, 70 Jefferson, for tours and lots more to see and do. We will return right here on the New Classical FM. Welcome back to Zoomer Hall. We are live from the Zoomerplex in Toronto's West End, downtown Toronto. A beautiful day for Doors Open Toronto 2024, and we are open to the public. Second day in a row. My name is Mark Wigmore, host of The Oasis here on the New Classical FM. Thrilled to have you listening online and all around our broadcast region. And we are celebrating Doors Open with a special concert, a Toronto superstar, relatively new ensemble, Schmaltz&Pepper. Live here, a mashup of Roma, jazz, classical, and European folk traditions mixed into a klezmer format. So incredible. Let's continue. It is Schmaltz&Pepper live from Zoomer Hall at Doors Open Toronto on the New Classical FM. Taking a ride to Zaslav, and you're with the New Classical FM. My name is Mark Wigmore. Thank you for joining us all across our broadcast region and at classicalfm.ca. We are live from Zoomer Hall within the Zoomerplex, and it is a very, very exciting afternoon because Doors Open Toronto is happening. We've got this incredible crowd with us here this afternoon. We're actually open. Our doors are open right here at the Zoomerplex until 5 p.m. And with us, it is Schmaltz&Pepper, the ensemble, relatively new ensemble, helping us celebrate and playing klezmer-inspired jazz, Roma, classical, and European folk music, as we just heard. They will play Jewish Music Week, May 27th, then Toronto Summer Music on July 23rd, and the Jazz Bistro in September. So you might want to think about your tickets for all of those. Several chances to see the group. And we've got an incredible group with us here this afternoon. Eric Abramovitz, principal clarinetist with the TSO, such a superstar. Rebekah Wolkstein, violinist with Peadora, and now this group as well. And I'll get you both back on the microphones because I think now we've been to Spain, we've had Mozart, the Mensch, we're traveling around the world. Tell us a little bit about how you put these arrangements together, because it's fascinating to weave in and out of the genres.
Well, this last one, called Ride to Zaslav, I composed it inspired by a story that I read about a young man in the 17th century by the name of Itzik, who was out of town, and he overheard that the Cossacks were coming, and they were going to come and invade his town. So he hopped on his horse and he took a very perilous ride through enemy territory and made it back to Zaslav, which is now Ukraine, and saved so many people. So you could hear the horse's hoofs riding.
Wonderful. And Eric, take us a little back into our concert experience where you played with Mozart and brought that into the klezmer world. That's its own trick.
It's kind of become my shtick, actually. I seek these iconic classical melodies that can lend themselves well to klezmer. It's not the first time I've done it, I have to say. Earlier last year, I performed a Mendelssohn concerto with the TSO. It was actually a double concerto for clarinet and basset horn. And as an encore, I arranged melodies from that piece in a klezmer version. I'm planning on doing the same thing with the Mozart Clarinet Concerto when I perform with the TSO next year. So it's something that I've really sunk my teeth into, klezmerizing things, as it were.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there will be more. I'll visit other composers. Maybe I can klezmerize some Rachmaninoff. I'm sure there will be many options down the road.
I'll tell you what I'm seeing and why I think you're going to be a successful group is there's so much joy in the performance here. You really all are loving what you're doing here, and I know it's fresh for you and it's a relatively new experience being together. And I know you're already kind of putting together some repertoire for a record maybe at some point.
Yeah. Moving fast.
You are moving fast. All right, what are we going to hear next?
This next one is a tune that Drew and I wrote together. He wrote the music and I wrote the lyrics, and it's called I'm Sorry, Mama. And it's about somebody who really wants to please their parents, but somehow every single guy that they date turns out to be perfectly wrong for them, with one fatal flaw. They're all musicians in the end. It's really
You got to
bad.
be careful with those ones, Live from Zoomer Hall, I'm Sorry, Mama, about all the musicians, and it's Doors Open Toronto at the Zoomerplex. Once again, here is Schmaltz&Pepper live on the New Classical FM.
Been on many a date in search of a mate who I know you'd approve of, Mama. But try as I might, no one's ever quite right. So I'm dealing with your melodrama. You told me to be keenest on a man with a big paycheck, because without proper funding, life would be a wreck. with his impressive pedigree. But when I asked about his job, he said it's not for me. I plan to leave the business as soon as I am able. He'd rather be a pianist who's financially unstable. I'm sorry, Mama. Despite our plans and best intentions, I just can't find him, the man of our dreams. Mama, believe me, your opinion matters to me, but every single guy who catches my eye is never really what he seems. David was a looker with a finely muscled torso. His father owns a law firm, which pleased me even more so. When David gets his license, he can take his father's place. But he told his father, keep your job, 'cause he wants to play the bass. Oh. I'm sorry, Mama. Despite our plans and best intentions, I just can't find him, the man of our dreams. Mama, believe me, your opinion matters to me, but every single guy who catches my eye is never really what he seems. It seemed I hit the jackpot with the wealthy CEO, but then I heard his company had to let him go. The shame that he was hiding was as bad as it could get. His stocks were up till they found out he played the clarinet. And was sure he was a 10, but I found out our worst fears were happening again. He loves playing the fiddle in some lousy klezmer band, and yet I just could not resist when he asked me for my hand. I'm sorry, Mama, money isn't everything. Where I see magic, all you see are faults. Nobody told me all the best men are musicians. Now I realize with my very own eyes, I need a man who's got that schmaltz. Now I realize with my very own eyes, I need a man who's got that schmaltz.
How about Rebekah Wolkstein? She's so sorry, Mama, about all the musicians, all the men you see here on stage. It is such a shame. Live from Zoomer Hall, it is Schmaltz&Pepper entertaining us this afternoon, and it is also Doors Open Toronto. We are having so much fun. We've got a full house here in the Zoomerplex, here in Zoomer Hall, and we are experiencing this wonderful group redefining the traditional boundaries of Yiddish music, certainly with classical and Roma and jazz and just about everything else. And we've got more to come. Up next, a pair of traditional pieces to wrap the program. Live from Zoomer Hall and Doors Open Toronto, you're with the New Classical FM. Welcome back. We are live from Zoomer Hall here on the New Classical FM from the Zoomerplex in Toronto's West End. And it's Mark Wigmore here, host of the Oasis normally, but here on a Sunday, it is Doors Open Toronto. Our second day, we've got a full crowd here in Zoomer Hall. We are welcoming folks until 5 p.m. And we are celebrating with the Toronto Superstar Ensemble, relatively new creation, Schmaltz&Pepper, a mashup of Roma, jazz, classical, and European folk traditions mixed into klezmer music. It has been fantastic the entire hour. We've got a couple more pieces for you. Let's continue. Schmaltz&Pepper live from Zoomer Hall at Doors Open Toronto and the New Classical FM. That was a toe tapper. That was a toe tapper. A lot of beauty and speeding up about halfway through. Just a wonderful, traditionally arranged piece. And you're with the New Classical FM. Live from Zoomer Hall, the concert series continues. My name is Mark Wigmore. Thank you for joining us across our broadcast region and at classicalfm.ca. So it is Schmaltz&Pepper, the ensemble, wrapping up here for the hour. What an hour it's been. It's Doors Open Toronto. We've got a full house here at the Zoomerplex within Zoomer Hall, and we are celebrating with a really incredible group that mixes jazz and Roma and classical and European folk music and putting it into klezmer-inspired arrangements. And it's just been a wonderful afternoon. By the way, they will play Jewish Music Week, May 27th, coming up very shortly. Toronto Summer Music, July 23rd, and the Jazz Bistro in September. And so I'll turn it over to Eric and Rebekah and Drew, who are with us, and ask you a little bit about these concerts coming up, specifically Toronto Summer Music, and I guess Jewish Music Week is happening imminently.
We're really looking forward to performing tomorrow evening at the Columbus Center on Lawrence for Jewish Music Week. It's going to be a performance with a lot more music than we've done today. So if you enjoyed what you heard today, please come out tomorrow night.
Have a look at 7:30 p.m. 7:30, we'll get that in there, and have a look at the website, get your tickets, and then Toronto Summer Music later in the summer, the Jazz Bistro in September. Talk to us just a little bit about these final pieces we're hearing, and I feel like we're getting more into the traditional repertoire we might understand.
Yes, so we're going to close out with an arrangement that I did, a medley of two very well-known traditional klezmer tunes, one called Kolomeike, the other one is called Odessa, Bulgar, and it'll hopefully have you leaving in a good mood. And I just wanted to add that for me especially, I'm excited to play Toronto Summer Music because I've attended the festival as a classical musician, and this will be my first time attending with something totally different. And I'll be doing some classical music there as well. So it's a great festival. They bring in world-class musicians in all kinds of genres. We're very honored to be part of that lineup, and we hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Let's hear one last piece with our group live from Zoomer Hall. It is Doors Open Toronto at the Zoomerplex. And once again, this is Schmaltz&Pepper live on the New Classical FM. Schmaltz&Pepper, live on the new Classical FM. It is Doors Open 2024. Thanks again to our musicians, Toronto Symphony Orchestra principal clarinetist Eric Abramovitz. Grammy-nominated Jurecka at violin, finally accordion too, that was nice. The incredible vocalist, violinist, it is Rebekah Wolkstein. Superstar bassist, I mean, he held it down, an incredible person, Michael Herring right there at the bass. And complete with a nod to Dr. Dre, there he is at the piano, Jeremy Ledbetter. Thank you to our live studio audience. Thank you for listening at the new Classical FM. My name is Mark Wigmore, back tomorrow at 3 o'clock for another edition of The Oasis, and we'll look forward to seeing you again live from Zoomer Hall.